A 54-year-old woman lost everything in a brutal legal separation. Most people expected her story to end in silence, debt, and humiliation. Instead, she drove 4 hours into the Smoky Mountains and reopened a collapsing gas station abandoned for nearly 30 years. But while tearing apart the back office, she discovered something nobody in the county was supposed to see. A rusty iron safe containing decades of handwritten records that exposed how her late grandfather secretly kept the entire town alive during its darkest economic collapse. What happened next shattered her ex-husband's multi-million-dollar corporate strategy in a way no courtroom ever could. Because this was never just about money. It was about something far more dangerous in the modern world. A community that still remembers who helped them when nobody else would. When Clara Vance walked out of the courthouse at 54 years old, she carried everything she still owned inside a single cardboard box. A silver locket from her mother, a faded photo album, a chipped coffee mug. 28 years of marriage reduced to objects light enough to carry with one arm. Behind her, the courthouse doors shut with a heavy metallic thud, sealing the end of a life she had spent nearly 3 decades building beside a man who now treated her existence like a business liquidation. Julian Vance did not even bother attending the final hearing himself. He sent his attorney instead, a polished corporate shark in a $1,000 pinstripe suit, who checked his platinum watch more often than he looked at Clara. The settlement had been simple. Julian kept the estate, the investment accounts, the luxury properties, the offshore holdings, and the future income streams. Clara received a battered 2002 Dodge Ram pickup truck, her personal belongings, and an abandoned piece of property in the Smoky Mountains, appraised at less than $9,000. To Julian's legal team, the old property was worthless. To Clara, it was her grandfather Arthur's gas station. She stood beside the rusted Dodge in the courthouse parking lot for nearly 10 minutes before climbing inside. The truck smelled like old dust, cracked leather, and engine oil baked into the floorboards from years of neglect. The passenger door barely closed correctly anymore. The dashboard was split by sunlight and age. Yet sitting behind the wheel, staring through the cracked windshield, Clara realized this truck was now the only thing in the world that actually belonged to her. She had no apartment, no savings, no career, no plan. Only $150 in a checking account and a deed to a forgotten building somewhere deep in the mountains. For years, Julian had mocked the station, called it a financial infection, a useless relic from a dead generation. Clara remembered the day her grandfather passed away and left the property to her. Julian laughed at the paperwork and tossed it into a kitchen drawer beside expired coupons and utility bills. Sell it, he had said back then, or let the county take it. Clara never argued with Julian in those days. Their marriage operated on an unspoken system. He made decisions, she adapted around them. Over time, adaptation became silence, and silence slowly became surrender. But now, surrender had left her with nowhere else to go. So she turned the ignition. The engine coughed violently before roaring awake. And for the first time in almost 30 years, Clara pointed a vehicle toward the mountains. The drive east felt like traveling backward through time. The polished highways disappeared first. Then the chain restaurants. Then the subdivisions and corporate billboards. Eventually, even cell phone service faded into static as Highway 9 narrowed into a winding strip of cracked asphalt, cutting through endless forests of pine and maple. The air changed too. Cooler, cleaner, heavy with damp earth and wood smoke. As Clara rolled down the window, memories she had buried for decades suddenly returned with startling clarity. Summers spent pumping fuel beside her grandfather. Long afternoons handing wrenches across the repair bay. Arthur teaching her how to diagnose engine problems by sound alone. By 12 years old, Clara could rebuild a carburetor faster than most grown men. Julian used to find that charming when they first met. Later, he found it embarrassing. A wealthy developer's wife was supposed to host wine events and charity dinners, not understand torque ratios and radiator systems. So slowly, without ever directly saying it, Julian convinced her to abandon every part of herself that did not fit the polished corporate image he wanted displayed beside him. And eventually, Clara stopped remembering who she used to be. Until now. The station appeared suddenly around a sharp mountain bend. Oakhaven Fuel and Service. Time had not been gentle with it.
The limestone building sat crooked beneath thick vines crawling across the walls, like nature itself was trying to reclaim it. The gas pumps were rusted solid. One front window was cracked and sealed with ancient strips of yellowing duct tape. The hand-painted sign above the entrance had faded almost completely white beneath decades of rain and snow. Still, the structure stood, solid, stubborn, waiting. Clara climbed out of the truck and stared at the building for a long moment before pulling the heavy iron key from her folder. The lock resisted at first, then clicked open. The smell inside nearly stopped her cold. Motor oil, dust, old paper, grease. The scent of her childhood.